Kind of, yeah. You mean the designs or just or the taste buds or both? Well, we try hard to keep the consistency up. Can be, yes, I can be a joyful person. Yes, generally, yes, I am a joyful person, I would say. Yes, yeah, no, definitely. I've also got my darker moments, but you know. Yeah, but on the whole, yes, I would say, definitely.
Can you remember where that joy comes from?
I think it's just got to do with entertaining, hasn't it? I think, you know, I've always liked the idea of entertaining, and I guess like with the cakes, I sort of found a bit of an outlet really to sort of entertain it with food, and I think, you know, just sort of giving pleasure to others. I mean, that's kind of me, you know, in a way, mothering people and stuff, and just looking after people, making them feel good, you know. I think that sums me up somehow. More so than looking after myself, really. I'd say. I think I probably had a bit of a creative streak as well in me somehow, you know, and I think I found that the food was quite a good outlet for my creative streak. I think that's also kind of what got me excited about it.
Can you remember when you were a child, the first food you ever noticed?
Probably was a cake of sorts, you know, cream-filled birthday cake, you know what I mean, with fabulous rosettes on it or something. Or something called Frankfurter Kranz used to be my favourite cake, actually.
What is that?
It's like a pound cake, I guess, the recipe, but it's baked in a bun tin, and then you slice it laterally, and you fill it with the buttercream, and then you ice it with buttercream, and then you put like almond praline around it, you know, and it's kind of sweet, but that used to be I used to think it was really sophisticated and different, I guess, from an from a sort of everyday cake, let's say, my mother used to bake, you know, which was like an apple pie or something. It was something definitely a bit more special, I guess. You know. But I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Maybe it's in the genes. I have no idea where that came from. And then I guess there was sort of like also like a bit of a rebellious streak maybe in there, because I remember when I was in college in Munich, we had at the back after when I was doing my master brief, which is my master's certificate, you have to do like a theme, you know, at the end, and you have to style all your chocolates or your cake all to that theme, you know. And I was sort of some people choose obviously Christmas or Easter or Mother's Day or something, or a theme from a children's book or whatever. And my thing was like fresh breeze in the patisserie, because I had sort of been working in London and I wanted to do a bit more. I was quite interested in whole food at the time as well, so some of the cookies I wanted to do were like used like wholemeal flour and stuff, and I wanted to do this sort of, you have to do like a sort of amazing sugar piece, and I thought if I could make like a sugar piece, like a caramel piece, like that looks a bit like a braque, you know, like one of those sort of coffee, like cubism, sort of a table that's sort of collapsing and chocolates flying through the air and stuff. That was kind of my idea, but in the end, like, I'd sort of I moved on a bit from the actual theming, yeah. But it was that kind of thing that I was kind of interested in you, I suppose, definitely. And so, well, she was sort of, you know, she was a typical German Hausfrau, I would say, you know, and her food was just, there was not a lot of, she wasn't particularly artistic or inspired or anything like that, not really, I think, you know, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I had two older sisters, and maybe one of them was a little bit more creative. She certainly, you know, she did a lot of cooking and stuff, but it didn't sort of, I think it just came from, I was always more interested in art, I guess, in school as well, you know, and I sort of just liked the artistic side and playing with the food as well, the more playful side with it. You know, I remember we used to have this sort of, in Germany you get these sort of Obstkuchen, it's called, it's like fresh food, except most of it comes from a can, or used to come from a can anyway, but like, you know, and you used to get those pineapple rings, you know, and I used to always like, I wasn't content with just putting them on like a flower, you know, I was always sort of shaping like, sort of almost like racetracks, so like out of pineapple rings, like trying to coax them into different patterns by cutting them up and making them go around curves and then filling them and stuff. So I've always been sort of interested in that, I guess, or I don't know, I just had a fondness for it. But where it's from, I am not 100% sure. I really don't know for sure where it's from. I mean, sometimes it's just something that it's there, I guess, yes, or you like colours or yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess when you, I mean, obviously, when you're a small business, which is, you know, which we're still SME, isn't it? That's the actual title for someone like us. But when you but when you set up a shop like I did set up mine, you do have to be a man of many talents, I guess. Or a woman, for that matter, but like, you know, you have to sort of, you know, you have to be, and that's what sets you apart, I guess, because if you're just good at being creative and not a good businessman, you might not last forever, you know, you might just have your moment and that's it. You've sort of got to have a bit of everything. That's what, you know, really, like, you know, sets you apart, I guess. And somehow I just sort of had it, I guess, I suppose, you know, I don't know where that's coming from. My parents were farmers, I don't think I got it from them. It's more to do with that I didn't want to be a farmer, probably that was the inspiration, I guess. Playing shop with my sisters or something, I'm not sure. You know, yeah, I guess it's a, you know, the sort of the business side, I guess I liked it because I just, you know, it is all about it's all about number crunching, but on the other hand, you don't want to be too. You also have to be able to take a risk or just take the longer view, I suppose, and not sort of be too short-sighted. Because if you're just daunted by figures, you're not going to go anywhere either. You sometimes have to just say, okay, you know, it's going to cost me like £500,000 to open a shop or something, so therefore, you know, but. It's fine, you know, if you would do it, I do it, I mean, the figures for me is more like, I work it out because obviously it gives me like some sort of security if I at least go through the practice of working out a model or what's likely to happen, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wasn't particularly good at it. I mean, maths, I was not good at maths when I was at school or anything like that, or English for that matter, you know, but I suppose you just learn it. I mean, it's kind of essential, isn't it? If you don't do it, then it won't work. And I guess I suppose a survival instinct, I suppose, in there as well somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to, you know, and yeah, maybe fear is a driver in some ways, isn't it? Because I remember when I first set up my shop, I had this little newspaper clipping which I picked out. I think it was written by Prue Leith or something. She was giving like advice on catering business, and it said something like, in catering, in the first year, 95% of businesses fail, and in the next 3 years, another 50% go down. And I just always thought, you know, I don't want to be one of those, you know. But you actually do, when you actually go around, you do sort of see it around you, what happens, you know, people underestimate where they set up, they think turnover equals profit, you know, some people don't realize, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And so I guess I've just always done my sums, I suppose. I did 10 years before I set up my own business, working and you know, seeing how other people do it and getting my head around the figures and the percentages and all that sort of stuff. And then after that, it's sort of easier, isn't it? But it's still quite, you know, especially nowadays, it's like you have to, it's quite hard, I would say, because the overheads are, you know, higher. And even when I was much younger, I always had this sort of dream of like starting my own shop. I really did, or some sort of business, you know. As I said, my parents had a farm, for example, and I was forever redesigning the farm. When I was training as a baker, but I was still living with my parents, I always thought, how would I change this farm? I wouldn't want it as a farm. Maybe you'd make it into a catering operation, you know, or something. And so I was converting the stables into, you know, cafe or something, or bakery or whatever. And so you sort of have this dream, but of course in the end, it does come down to like, you know, writing a business plan and like, you know, and yeah, not just doing it without a plan really. And I think once I'd done that, it became easier. I did actually, for years, sort of, as I said, I had this dream of like starting my own business. Then once I was here as well, but it was quite daunting, you know, the numbers, the figures and stuff. But then I guess once you put it, you know, once you write a plan and you create a model, you know, then it's like a jigsaw, isn't it? You just have to make sure it all fits together somehow, and then obviously still you have to take the jump. But you know, I think you sort of, it gives you some sort of confidence and stability, and you can always revert back to it if something, obviously, if you go off plan, at least you can kind of you know, navigate back to it or something. I mean, that was, yeah. I mean, I did really think about it quite carefully, and it wasn't as if like, you know, money was that really available. I had to go to 3 different banks before I finally found somebody who would listen to me. You know? But in the end, I had to find somebody who.
What was the first thing that you made for the shop that you baked? Was it a baked item, the first thing?
Oh, I would have thought it was a baked item.
What did you sell when you first opened your shop?
We sold, because I took on a place that used to be a bakery, but it had closed down. And I guess it was probably something like, I mean, obviously we make croissants, things like that, and it was buns and so on. So, but I think we like the almond fruit tart, which is still on our menu now. That was probably one of the early ones that we used to do. And sort of, we just, I can't really exactly remember them. I probably started off with a breakfast item, I suppose, or maybe mince pies, because it was sort of in the run up to Christmas when we actually opened the shop.
Wow.
So it could have been mince pies I made or something, a mixture of something German, maybe Jenne. I don't remember the day. I was just glad that we got it open, but it was amazing because like the first shop was much easier than anything else that came afterwards. But I suppose we don't have the money or the resources, so we're just trying to sort of do it quickly, I suppose. And then obviously afterwards you take on bigger challenges, which are then also in themselves more challenging. It's just all luck, I don't know, in that case. And with other people. No, I think when you just sort of do it, I guess you in a way that the fact that you know less also sometimes makes it easier, I suppose.
You reach for things that you might not otherwise.
Yeah, you just become more ambitious. Like, I would have never thought of like taking on a shell that needs like gutting and then converting into a bakery and because you just haven't got the money. So you think of some other solutions, like taking a shop was a bakery and all you need to do is repaint it maybe or buy 2 pieces of equipment. So I wish in some ways I should have stuck to the principle. It would have been much better than spending millions, by the time we got to the gherkin. Obviously, there's a joy to it,
Yes.
Yeah, there's a joy to it. It's a celebration, isn't it? That's the good thing about baking, isn't it? It's actually usually often it's a treat. So
it is, yeah.
And with the decorating, obviously, you're trying to make someone's day even more special, I suppose.
Oh, but you definitely do.
We do, thank you. But that's the nice thing as well, isn't it? Because you can often make a cake as well. But and you just sort of decorate it, I guess. But if it's when you find a connection to the person or personalize the decoration, if you're the cake decorator and if you can really tease something out of that person what they really like and then create something, then that's really really good rather than just a formulaic design. Let's just say. But on the other hand, also as I said, I was interested in art, and I always said I'm a cake decorator for the rock and roll generation, not for sort of old grannies,
Have you made cakes for rock and roll people?
I did. When I first started, it was a bit of a hangover from when I used to work in Knightsbridge, because I sort of used to make cakes for the Rolling Stones, who used to come to where I used to work as well. So, and Ringo Starr and Tina Turner and stuff. I used to do cakes for a long time ago, Elton John. Now I don't really. I don't sort of play the celebrity angle. I don't particularly go for it. Our shops aren't necessarily in locations where you wouldn't necessarily get walk-in customers. Let's say that if you were in Knightsbridge or whatever. But we do occasionally do cakes for celebrities, or they come in the shop and stuff. Because one of the shops is near the National Theatre, so you get people walking in, or we get orders for them. But I don't. If you're not always there in the shop, you don't always know who gets what, where they're going, unless it's something really major and somebody makes a big fuss about it. It definitely has to involve nuts and chocolate.
Okay.
I'm quite nut.
It can be anything, right? So your dream birthday cake.
Oh, my dream birthday cake. Well, I have to say, by what we currently bake, it definitely has, actually this is a hybrid for 2 cakes, because they're both wheat free, which was even better. Because we do this cake, which is a chocolate hazelnut cake, and we also make this other cake, which is called Mount Hazelnut, because it's also with
I think I've had that.
A little pyramid.
Oh,
and we've recently just combined the two in a sort of layered cake. But what's even better, it comes with this sort of noisette mascarpone frosting, which is just to die for. And I mean, I just cannot get past it. And on its own, I mean, it's nice, the Mount Hazelnuts. It's quite rich, it's quite nutty. But when you get the chocolate in there as well, it just adds that little something extra, and it really is. That is definitely my favourite. And since, you know, wheat-free as well, brilliant, isn't it?
They're amazing, those cakes. They've got such a fantastic texture, haven't they?
Yeah,
they're my favourite cakes.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I always recommend them as well. I always say, you know, I can't. I mean, I would say if it wasn't my shop, I'd ruin myself because I couldn't walk past it without having at least a slice a day or a couple. One on the way to work, one on the way home. No, definitely, they're very good. Yeah, they're definitely my favourites. I've got a sweet tooth. I'm a butterscotch person, not a lemon tart or lemon sorbet. Definitely. Favourite meal?
Yeah, what's your favourite meal?
I like herbs. I like sort of. It doesn't have to be something grand, but I just like the use of herbs and stuff. So even a salad or something like that with you know, some nice herbs in it, like coriander, or basil, or lime, or something. I quite like strong tastes, I guess, like that. It has to be something, and it would always be, even if it's something really simple, I would try and make it look quite nice, because that's what my flatmates used to say to me, God, you can make a meal out of nothing. You know, you open the fridge door, and there's a piece of wilted spinach in there or something, and something else or another. And I would always try and make it look nice, and sort of create something out of nothing. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's, even if it's, you know, just simple, even the porridge, you know, you want to put the fruit or the honey in a certain way, so it looks kind of appealing. I think it's very important myself that you know, food should, how we eat our food. You know, it has to do with all of that. I think it all plays a part. Well, you can start baking all those cakes yourself. You know, I don't know whether you know, but I've written a book which is coming out in May. It will all be revealed from now on. I'll probably go out of business in 6 months' time because all the best recipes are in there.
Of course you
The brownies, you know, the curly welly cake, you know, the Mount Hazelnut. It's all there. So I'll be signing on next year if the book is a success. There's an honesty, I guess, to our baking or to my baking. You know, we make it all from scratch. We don't sort of cut corners. We don't start using convenience products. So many people do in a way, and I think, and that's what makes them so good. And there's, you know, there's a depth of flavour to them, isn't there, which kind of comes out. I mean, you know, you may not like one personally or something. You know, sometimes people do. You know, but like I think on the whole, I really do always feel like when you taste them, like there's just something there, you know, it doesn't just sort of, yeah, it's just a depth to it. It doesn't just sort of disappear, like, you know, you really feel like you've eaten something proper, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting, that question, isn't it? Because sometimes I maybe it's because my personality, but I don't sometimes see it like that almost, you know, what I have achieved, you know, anyway. I mean, okay, it's grown and so on, because you're still in there in the thick of it, and you get it every day, like problems and stuff like that. But I suppose it has been quite an achievement, you know, in as much that I came from abroad as well. I started my own business. We employed just about 100 people, you know, and every year we sort of like sell like, you know, £4 million worth of food or something like that. I don't know exact figures, but like it's cakes and savouries and all that all together, you know, and we've done it for a number of years now. So it's, and we've actually also like we've shown a lot of people how to do it, and people have gone on to start their own places and have been inspired and so on, and done quite well out of what they've learned with us, and so that's quite good. There's lots more you can do.
Like?
Well, I think the whole way that, and for some of the training is very interesting, and that's something that I've really found that like in the last few years we've had a lot of, we've had an exchange, for example, with a college from Sweden for quite a long time, where we get like students for a couple of weeks a year, you know, they come to us and they go back and they're really excited and really fired up and stuff. And so we do quite a lot, and now we started one with a college in France. So that's kind of interesting, all that. I mean, like I guess it's maybe not just me, but it's the fact that the whole of London is now sort of a foodie destination. But that whole training and teaching sort of aspect is really interesting, the inspiration, giving people inspiration. And also I think the way, you know, retailing's going, like the retail experience itself, I think you have to make it more exciting in the shops, and sort of we might sort of go a little bit more. I think in future maybe we'll move on more into just doing cake shops rather than like savory food as well, and then we just create a lot more in-store theatre as well, where people can maybe decorate a cake or see how it's decorated or maybe participate in it. I think that's the only way you can really sort of survive, if you kind of like provide an interesting experience, because a lot of it happens actually online as well, and people can just order a cake and stuff. But if you really want to sort of see it and feel it and smell it, I think there's still a case for something like food. There's still a case of actually going into a shop and just sort of experiencing it. And I think that's where we're going to go more into the sort of cake